Angels. In today's episode, I want to share with you that the growth journey is not always linear. You can sometimes feel like you're doing the inner work, you're doing the spiritual work, you're doing the personal development, you're feeling amazing, you're doing all the right things. And then next minute, you're feeling an emotional wreck, or you're feeling that it's all too hard and you're overwhelmed and your energy is slipping and you're falling back into old patterns. This is normal. You are not doing anything wrong. This is a growth journey and a healing journey. And I want to take you through some insights that is going to help you along the way and know that you are on the right track, my friend. Hello, my beautiful friends. I'm so happy to be sharing with you again today. Today's episode is actually number 99, which is so fitting at the moment. I have had a lot of questions come up through some of my community, which I want to touch on in today's episode. And it's also less than 24 hours before I fly out to Bali. And I know every time I go on retreat, it's almost like I feel shifts things starting to stir before I go on retreat, when I'm in retreat, and often when I get back as well. And nines are symbolic of like an end of a cycle. And I've been seeing 99 or 999 everywhere. Like you would not believe. Yesterday, I kid you not, I counted 6 cars that I saw 99s on, and then I saw it elsewhere. It was just absolutely everywhere. And that's what I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about today, around cycles, around healing journeys, around how you can sometimes feel like you're doing the work and you're feeling good, but then maybe you're not feeling great 100% of the time. What's wrong with me? There is nothing wrong with you. A healing journey, a growth journey, it's not linear. And often people feel when they're showing up and they're doing the inner work, or they're diving into self-discovery, or they're doing the right things, they're going to classes, they're eating well, they're maybe dabbling in some mindset or some spiritual stuff. Why is it that I go through phases where like I feel amazing, everything's feeling great, I'm doing the right thing, and then I can get completely like knocked for six? Something can happen and throw me off the rails. And what's kind of going on? And I had a client message me during the week, just saying like, I haven't, in my coaching program, been going really, really well, and just said, I haven't had a great week. Like my emotions have been high, my body's been weak, I'm exhausted, I'm wrecked, I have no energy, I feel overwhelmed. So I just didn't want to come to the studio all week. I just needed to retreat to myself. And I said, that's normal. Like, this is so normal. I know when I've been around a lot of people, like after a Bali retreat, after a women's circle, after a family get together, after recently being on holidays with a whole group of people up at 1770 for a week, I said to her, I do the same thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. I come home and I go, I just don't want to talk to people for a while. I just want to hang out at home a little bit more. I don't want to be as social. My like social battery is drained. I said, you're not doing anything wrong. This is cycles, right? This is what happens in cycles. This is what happens in that bit of a growth journey. This is like normal energy. This is normal emotions, where you're not going to feel on a high all the time. You're not going to feel incredible all the time. So don't feel like you're doing anything wrong. Okay, with cycles and endings comes new beginnings. Like the 9s go into the 1s, which represent that new start and that new beginning. I said to her, the key is that you've had awareness around this, and this is a really great place to be, that you're noticing and you're observing how you're feeling, and that we honor that. I said, have a rest, take a little bit of a break, and then come back. But it can also be the collective as well, like with what's happening with the collective energy, what's happening with the moon cycle as well, what's happening in nature, what's happening around us. All of those things impact your energy, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, it does, okay? What's going on around you, like with what's happening in the world, with the economy, with war, like with things like that, they affect your energy, people's beliefs, people that get tied up in what's happening on the news and kind of feed it to you. You've got to protect your energy, because you don't have to buy into absolutely everything. Yes, be aware But it's up to you what you take on board. You have to protect your energy. And if you feel a bit of heaviness, a bit of emotion around, a bit of heightened energy, and you need to kind of retreat back in for a little bit, that's okay. Listen to that, honor that, because that's the most important thing that you can do. I had another client who said something very, very similar. Like she said, I feel like I've slipped back into old patterns. The stress this week has really rattled me. My self-worth has taken a hit. Instead of staying grounded, what I had been practicing all the rituals, I'd been doing all the right things in the coaching program, and instead of staying grounded and doing the things that I know help me feel good, I just went into that stress mode, forced me to go into this feeling like I just need to do more. And she said, I went back into those old patterns of working long days, ended up teary, and how I noticed how quickly I went from, like I moved from going from presence into pressure. And I had this awareness, and what it taught me was that nature regulates me and nature helps me feel good, and it helps me kind of make me aware that I don't want to take on everybody else's energy, but I fell in the trap of doing that and it impacted me. And like I said to her, awareness is a great thing. It's so good that you're aware of this, because the way you used to do things in your old patterns would be that you would have just stayed in the needing to do more. You would have stayed in the overwhelm. You would have stayed in the emotion. You would have just taken on all the negativity around you. At least now you're aware of the contrast. You're aware of the rituals and how they're making you feel and how they're getting you back to that place of feeling good. But you're going to have moments where you go back, because growth is not linear. We have moments we go forward, things are going great, then we find we plateau or we go backwards into our old patterns. This is really normal, my friends, on a healing, growth, and personal development and spiritual development journey. I had another client said, my week started so great. I was doing all the right things and feeling incredible, but then by the end of the week, chaos, it just took over me for a few days. What was going on in the family, what was going on at work, it literally just took over me. And for a couple of days, it really threw me. And she said, I think the solution is move to an island or I stay on the journey and I just keep going. And that's what I want to encourage you to do, is doing the work, doing the inner healing work, doing the spiritual work, doing the personal development, the self-development, the growth journey. It's not going to feel incredible all the time. It is going to take you backwards. You are going to notice repeating patterns play out. You are going to have highs. You are going to have lows. You're going to have those moments where you feel you're doing all the right things and you're feeling amazing. And then you're going to have those moments where you think, what just happened? Why am I going backwards? This is a normal part of the process. And this is normal that we go through cycles. We have obstacles, we have challenges, but what I want to encourage you to do is stick with the awareness, because most people will go through life blind and they will go through life with their blinkers on and stay stuck in the work, stay stuck in the stress, stay stuck in the just getting to the next thing, just trying to survive or trying to, please everybody else, try and control everybody else. And they never take any moments to just pause and look at, how's my body feeling? Like, what am I noticing in my body, in my stress levels, in my nervous system, in my energy levels, in my, sick? Maybe they get sick and something happens to them and they just feel like, well, this is normal. Every time of that time of the year, I get sick. People around me get sick. I get sick. Or, like things will happen to them and they just feel like, well, this is just normal. It doesn't have to be, You can do things to take care of yourself along the way, and you can do things to have this awareness in yourself as to how you are feeling, and sit with the emotion, sit with what's going on, notice how you got here, notice what's going on around you, but also accepting that growth is not linear. It is not perfect all the time. We don't just go up and up and up and up. We're going to have moments where we fall back down, or where we go into repeating patterns, where we feel like we plateau and nothing's happening. And it's like when you plant those seeds and things are happening under the surface, but you don't see anything on top of the surface yet. Be patient. It's happening. Keep showing up. You don't need to go and live on an island. You don't need to avoid everything. You keep showing up. You keep staying on the path, and you keep staying on the growth journey and you keep staying consistent for turning up for you and doing the inner work on yourself, doing the physical work, taking care of your body, because it is going to pay off, because in this process you are growing, you're shifting, you're learning, and you're evolving. And this is part of an awakening process. This is part of the growth journey. This is part of a spiritual journey. This is part of your evolution. But you have to be patient. You have to be kind to yourself. You have to be compassionate to yourself. And you just have to understand you're not doing anything wrong. You are not going completely backwards. You're having the awareness, which is incredible. I've had one of those periods. If I'm perfectly honest with you guys, we are off to Bali tomorrow, super early tomorrow. So by the time you listen to this, Bali would have already been over. And well, no, actually, I'll still be there, but the retreat will have been completed. And I've noticed that I felt so emotional, literally for no reason at all. Nothing is wrong, okay? No, I haven't done anything wrong, or nothing has impacted me, but I've just felt like I've been on a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. All this started a couple of weeks ago when we went up to 1770. We left early in the morning. It was a bit of a road trip. Tom was driving, and we got to the part kind of a bit further north, about 3 hours north, past the Sunshine Coast. And it was just so beautiful all around. We were kind of in these little rural type towns, and then we were just out like on these kind of just roads out in nature. And I found myself, I wound the window down. And sometimes, like, I do it when I drive out here through the cane fields too. Sometimes I'll wind the window down, the music's playing, I'll pop my hand out the window just to kind of feel the breeze. And sometimes, like, my hand just kind of goes like this wave up and down, like I'm just kind of cruising along with the car, taking it. I don't do this on the highway. I do this when I'm kind of out around nature, and it's like I just feel these beautiful surroundings that I'm in. And as I'm looking at nature, looking at there was like, what do you call it? Like, all the fruit trees, like all of those areas where lines and lines of those beautiful trees of fruit's got a name, I can't think of the name, where you go fruit picking, you know, those type of places. Or there was like valley, like hills. I could see these mountains off in the distance, and I was just getting lost in the moment and just felt this real oneness. And I looked over at Tom. He's just kind of in his, zone driving. And I looked over at him and I just had this feeling like it's just us, because the kids didn't go on holidays with us for this particular trip. And I just said to myself, like, this is a new stage. I felt like I was grieving the kids all over again. I've been like feeling like I've been going through this period of mourning for the last couple of weeks. And like I said, nothing is wrong, okay? But I just had this moment of, it's just us again, going on a trip because the kids couldn't come with work commitments and things like that, and they stayed home, and I felt like I was grieving the kids all over again as they're kind of just pulling back a little bit more into adulthood, and it's just Tom and I, like we kind of are finding that we're doing more and more stuff on our own. And I felt like I was mourning. I felt so sad that we knew we were going off on an incredible adventure together. We've done tons of overseas trips. I've dumped the kids sounds terrible. The kids have stayed with my mum and dad for like a week on end, where we've gone to Vegas, we've gone to Mexico, we've gone to amazing trips, Dubai, I've done all these trips when the kids have stayed at home with mum and dad. But that was different because we wanted a bit of a break, and they're happy at Nana and Granddad's, and we're very grateful for the support. But this time, it was their choice that they didn't come, and it kind of hurt a little bit more, and it felt a little bit like I was grieving them as I'm driving out the window, thinking about the kids, feeling lost in the moment, looking at Tom going, thank God I like you. Like, thank God, we've got a really, really great relationship, and he's like my best friend. And I just felt overcome with emotion, and I felt tears welling up, and I'm like, Lise, what is going on? And I had moments like that. Go back to my last episode where I was talking about the jet ski ride over to Lady Musgrave Island. I felt moments of that grief, or that just feeling a bit of a shift in my energy, feeling a bit of a shift in my life cycle, and just feeling a bit of a shift in the stage that I'm at. And I'm like, I thought I'd already grieve this, because the kids have finished school. But my point is it's just not always just done in one hit. Sometimes things will resurface for you, like again, another layer you'll get reminded of something again, another layer of maybe mourning will come up. It could be a change that you've had in a relationship or a job, or something that's happened in your home. You've moved homes, or something that's happened in your life where you feel like you've had a bit of a change and you have moved on, but then those moments will resurface of the past, or what you have. 9 endings, what has kind of died, ended, completion of a cycle, that it might take you a bit of time to kind of heal that, or to move through that, or to accept that, or just to accept, because as humans, we go through different stages of our life, different ages that we're at, different cycles with with children or with careers. It's that we're constantly shifting cycles, we're constantly ending cycles, we're constantly starting over. We have endings, we have new beginnings. So that was a bit of emotion that was kind of coming up, and all for the last 2 weeks I went up on that trip. I was feeling those emotions as I was riding the ski out in the ocean. Like, I let go of a part of myself on Lady Musgrave Island. I honestly felt, as we were walking around the island, and as I skied off for that last time we left, I took a few deep breaths and I just kind of released a few things that had almost like that needed to be ended in my life, and things that I had been, maybe patterns that I had been replaying out, big things, little things. Like, that was a big thing that I was kind of experiencing as a mum, but also little things that I knew, like, Lisa, you got to shift some of these things if you want to go into a little bit more growth and a little bit more of a journey of bringing in more of what you want. You've got to let go of some of the old. So as I was kind of skiing away from the island, I could feel things coming up that I needed to change, bad habits or toxic things that I've been doing, or things that needed to change. And I kind of just took a few deep breaths as we took off, and kind of took my hands down beside me and just let them go. So it's amazing how out in nature, or out through, in a yoga class with some breaths, or walking along the beach and the waves can come in and wash out. Use little things all the time to let go, to release, to heal, to let go, because they are symbolic, but also nature can help clear that energy away of what needs to end for you, or what cycle has come to a close for you, because we go through cycles constantly. People think that to have a healing, like healing means restoring to wholeness. Like, healing can be so many, like, it can be interpreted in so many different ways, but the definition is it's a return to wholeness, and it's to make well again. It's to return to this state of bringing everything back to this whole state again. And it can come from your, like your physical body. It can come from an emotional impact that's happened in your life, an emotional trauma. It can come back to just returning to your authentic self and returning yourself to a state of wholeness. And people think that a healing journey, or a growth journey, or a spiritual personal development journey needs to be like this kind of big firework moment, or this big like a big light bulb moment, or a big revelation, or a big awakening. And it's not always like that. Yes, you can have big challenges, or yes, you can have big wins, or yes, you can have big things that you overcome. But it's in the little, seemingly insignificant moments that can happen day to day, on a yoga mat, on a beach walk, on a journal, something that you've journaled, going to a healer. Like, all of these different things can happen in the little moments where you can find some really powerful, deep healing and cleansing and shifting and releasing. It does not have to be a big firework light bulb moment. It's in the little things that you can do daily. It can be like a line that you read in a book, or something you hear on a podcast that course corrects, or makes you do something different, or makes you go like, I'm done with that. I really want to make some changes in my life. Or you let somebody go by, throwing a piece of their jewelry, or throwing something off into the ocean. It doesn't have to be this big light bulb moment. It can be simple little things that you do, like leaving it behind on a jet ski as you drive off, or letting it wash out with a wave, or saging it away. But it doesn't mean it's not going to come back up again, okay? And it doesn't mean, because remember, healing and growth is not completely linear. You are going to have moments where you go up and down, and you're going to have layers that you need to shift, and it can be done on your own. It can be done, we feel like we have to maybe go and see somebody all the time, and yeah, these things are great. It's great to go and seek support. It's great to go and have some help. But also, it's what you do behind closed doors when no one's watching, in those little moments of healing yourself, or of shifting yourself, or of having that a little moment of awareness in yourself. Just like my client said, she said, I noticed how quickly I went from presence into pressure. And we can have these times where we're shedding layers, we're doing the work on ourselves, we've got those endings, those closures, things are coming to completion, but at the same time as releasing, we're also growing. We're also having those moments where inspiration is coming through, new beginnings are coming through, ideas are coming through, or new opportunities are coming through. And you find that they often come simultaneously together, where you have like the 9 nines, the symbolic of endings. I've been seeing a lot of ones everywhere, and a lot of signs and synchronicities all around new beginnings, and all around this new stage, or this new, let's say, use the word like version of me that is unfolding. Just like you, we have these times where we strip back the onion, we get rid of the things that we're noticing, we're having the awareness that aren't serving us anymore, whether it's physical things around our home, whether it's people that we're shedding, whether letting go of, whether it's old habits, old beliefs, or things that we are starting to release. We create space to bring in the new. We create space to bring in this evolved version of us. The old us is not, she's not dead. She's not completely gone. She's just getting a bit more powerful. She's just getting a little bit more stronger. She's getting a little bit more in alignment with who she is and what she wants. But we have to go through those cycles of closure, cycles of endings, to open the door for the new beginnings. And that's what I found this last week, or since coming back from 1770. I've been so emotional. I don't even know why. I do not even know why, but I'm just allowing myself to go with it. I've had moments, I've been sitting out on my deck in my morning rituals, feeling, I'm watching birds and things around me, and I'm just like tearing. I'm thinking, what is wrong? What is wrong with you? And this is part of the growth journey. This is part of being a human. This is part of letting go, because tears or emotion that come up are a way of clearing things that your body, your nervous system, your soul has been carrying. Tears are a way of releasing and healing and letting go. So I encourage you to go with those moments. So I'm finding I'm driving out through the cane fields on my way home. And like this morning, I had another instance. I'm driving home, the window wound down, my Raising My Vibration playlist playing, and this really beautiful song that I love. And I'm watching out the window. I see a big white eagle sitting on the power lines, and like a younger one, a bit of a fluffier one beside it. It looks like a young'un. And I pull over. I'm glad I'm by myself. My kids would go, or my husband would go, this is ridiculous. Just keep going. But I don't care. I'm by myself. There's no cars around me. I pull over and I sit there. And I'm looking at this eagle and the little baby. And then there are other ones flying around the paddock. There's some pelicans off in the distance. And I sit there. It's a morning sun, the golden rays I'm driving back from a early morning 5 a.m. class. And I see like the rays catching the top of the sugar cane and this beautiful golden color. I start crying. I'm like, Lise, what the fuck? Like, seriously, get a grip, woman. But in all honesty, I just go with it and I let it flow, and I'm lost in the awe. Like, I'm seriously lost in the beauty. And it just reminds me how much we can get so caught up in the rat race, so caught up in Groundhog Day, so caught up in all of those things that we are stressed about or chasing or what's going wrong or we're just getting through the end of the day, how often do you take a moment to just stop and take in the beauty that is all around? Because when you get in that place of awe, when you get in that place of just really noticing, that's when you find you're starting to awaken, when you'll notice a little butterfly or you'll notice something that never really caught your eye before because it's always there, but you haven't stopped to pay attention. And that is a way I feel like of just the tears were coming up because I felt like I was kind of grieving a little bit of, it's like as I'm growing, as I'm shifting, as I'm evolving, the part of me, that old version of me is becoming, it's almost like she's kind of dying off almost. That's how I felt, like this kind of grieving part of myself as I sat there getting lost in all of this beauty and lost in the world and lost in the oneness, the presence. I sometimes have these moments I think, where have you been all my life? Like, where has this... I spent so many years, and you probably found the same or you are noticing it now. I think it's been so many years worried about superficial shit that doesn't honestly really matter in the grand scheme of things. And that's what it can feel like when you go on this bit of a growth journey or a bit of a spiritual journey. You start to awaken to more magic, to more beauty all around that you hadn't even noticed before. And that is when you're feeling more alignment. So those tears or those emotions or the feeling of cycles ending can also, it's helping you get back into alignment with who you really are at a soul level. So I've noticed that has been coming up, and all of these things have been coming up right before I go to Bali. I always notice things start to shift for me every single time for me and the group, because it's a very, very powerful place. But I know that I'm going to do a week of inner work, a week of getting connected with nature, a week of, it's almost like going away to just work on yourself, but take a break from the rat race and get so connected with who you are at a soul level. It's almost like it's kind of, I know it's coming and I know that it's stirring up in me. And it's like this excitement's coming up, but also this little bit of nerves, this little bit of what's it going to kind of stir up in me. Because doing that bit of inner work on yourself can be vulnerable. It can be confronting. It can bring up a lot of stuff that it's easy to just not look at. And it's easy to stay in work mode, getting stuff done mode, survival mode, mum mode, dad mode, like parent mode, taking care of everybody else, that when you neglect yourself, then you start to open up to do a bit of work on yourself. It can be really emotional. It can hit you. And I've seen women like that have been saying to me, like in my coaching program, going, I just feel so emotional. What's wrong with me? And I'm like, it's not. Or people will walk into the studio for the first time and go, why am I crying? Like, this hasn't happened before. It's because you've given yourself a break. It's because you've stepped away from all of the stuff around you to go within and to connect with your soul. It's almost like your soul is saying to you, thank goodness, like thank goodness you finally found me. You finally come and back around to connect with me. Thank you. And so it can just feel this feeling of alignment, like getting into alignment can stir up a little bit of emotion. And I know this week, and this is not about me, but I'm just using examples, right? I had, again, just on the lead up to going to Bali, I'd noticed that I'd been working so hard. Like, it's just a lot to get done. There's a lot to get done. And I just had one of those weeks where I've had staff off sick. I'm literally, my cup is full at the moment. I've had to take on extra classes. And I had to last minute I ended up doing 5 classes on Monday. And I'm like, it's fine. I'm the owner, I got to do it. And when I'm there, I just get into it, and I have this energy of, I bring a great energy to the class, no matter what is going on. I just make sure I'm always there for you guys. But I'd started to feel a bit run down. I'd started to feel on the Sunday a bit scratchy in the throat, like not 100%. And I'm like, Lise, don't get sick. You've got Bali coming up. You've got a lot of things going on. And then I had to take one cover and then another one come in. No one else could do it. And I was getting frustrated. But I had to do it, and I did, and I showed up and brought my best energy. And then come that night, I felt sciatica kick in. I felt like, and my body been feeling so good. And I felt this sciatica kick in. I woke up Tuesday morning. I was in a lot of pain. Had classes that afternoon. And then by Wednesday, I was back up at 3:30, had a lot more classes. And I was just feeling like almost broken. And I rang my massage therapist Jen, who's incredible. And I'm like, if there's any way you could please fit me in, I don't want to be sitting with this pain on the plane on Saturday. And I went there and I just felt like she just released, and I know it was like what was going on around me caught up with me physically, and it was pushing me to slow down. It was pushing me going, you're just taking on too much at the moment. And we all go through times like that. We absolutely do. And I felt this sudden release, like as she's released my body, I've also felt this wave of release kind of energetically, emotionally come out as well. Again, drove home, more tears are coming up. So it's all of these things are stirring up this week. And then I had to record a video for my coaching program. And I'm teaching the girls how to use Oracle cards. And as I'm like going through the video, I pull out this one card, and it's all the Callie card, right? And the Callie, she cuts through the bullshit. Like sometimes I can pull her card. I haven't pulled her card since the last week before I went to Bali last time. And I was like, oh, what is this stirring up in me? And Callie, this card shows up to strip you back of what no longer serves you. And when she sweeps in, it's almost like she doesn't want you to waste another precious second being someone you're not. She makes you look at yourself, and she makes you look at your stuff, and she makes you get terrifyingly real with yourself and realize what's not serving me. It's time to be the truth of who I am. So I've pulled her card. I've done a bit of journaling around what I need to shift and change. And then the next day, I've got a point where I'm telling you all this, okay? The next day, I pull this other card. I just felt I needed to pull a little bit of cards this week. I've been feeling the need to. And this card says, let your true self be seen. Search for the deepest spiritual purpose and opportunities for healing beneath conflict and beneath suffering. If you've been in pain, this oracle brings a message of a joyful breakthrough. Your soul is growing stronger, more able to have faith in wisdom than in judgment or doubt. Commit to your spiritual path and know you're making progress even if things feel difficult, and know that any such difficulty is part of your healing and that you will successfully move through it. Trust in yourself. And then there was one line in this card, and it said, what vision of yourself or others are you either clinging to or need to free yourself from? And it got me thinking around how we can hold on to so many parts of ourselves that we feel we need to present to the world, or we feel we need to present to other people. And part of the healing process, or part of doing the inner work, is stripping back those layers of what we feel we're clinging to, which is stopping us from having more of a soul awakening. And what I mean by that, so it could be layers of, or it could be that facade that you keep up with, like that mask or that identity that you wear at work. Or maybe that feeling like you have to show up and be the perfect mum at school, like you've got everything together all the time and you're always presented well, or you've got the perfect house, or you always have to be in control of everything. And that, when you cling so hard to the facade, or you cling so hard to the version of yourself that you feel you need to be, you block yourself from being your real self. And I have found in this process of doing the healing work, in the process of working with my community, the more you can get back to what makes me happy, what makes me who I am, and you strip away those layers, you're shedding those layers of what you feel you need to present, or what you feel you need, the title you need to wear at work, or the looking after everybody else. and being the martyr, being the caregiver, because it's easier to look after them and it's easier to take care of them than to actually look at yourself. When you start to let go of some of those visions of or layers of what you're clinging to, that's when you discover more of who you are. You discover more behind the mask of what you're wearing. What is it that makes me me? What is it that I actually want? And I noticed that I'd still been carrying these layers of, I'd still been carrying these identity of the way that I'd always been, the way that I had shown up around like friends, around family members. And I started to think, Lisa, if you want to grow a lot more in your business, if you want to grow a lot more in your brand, if you want to serve more people, if you want to be a better leader, it's time to get terrifying. Just like that Cali card, it's time to get terrifyingly real with yourself and go, what do you need to strip back, to let go of, to let your real self be seen? Because in those moments, like when I was pulling up on the side of the road, taking everything in and being so connected with nature, I would hide elements of that around extended family or around socially. And I thought, you know what? It's time for you to just stand up and just own it and not be afraid anymore of really being afraid of getting so, I guess, letting the real woo side of yourself be seen because you're afraid of what people might think of you, or you're afraid of how it might present, or you're afraid of, maybe sometimes we get afraid of our potential. And in the distraction of work, in the distraction of social media, in the procrastination of the things that you're doing, it keeps you a little bit safe. It keeps you a little bit busy. Because maybe deep down we're afraid of our potential. Maybe deep down we're afraid of what we can actually achieve, and it's easier to stay in our comfort zone and it's easier to stay doing what's familiar. Because I've been having these feelings of bigger dreams, bigger goals, bigger things that I want to do. And in the last couple of weeks, the reason I'm sharing all this with you is in the endings, in the completion, in the shedding layers, I've also had moments of dream building. I've also had moments of ideas are coming to me of what I want to do, ideas around growth, creative ideas, but we still hold these fears of how can I achieve that? Can I actually do that? Who am I to want these things? Who am I to do these things? Who am I to have these big dreams? So we stay stuck in the comfortable, familiar. And on these last couple of weeks, I think a lot of the emotion has been coming up because I'm feeling the change. I'm feeling the glimpses of what I want to do when I come back from Bali. I'm feeling the glimpses of stepping into my full potential. I'm feeling the drive and I'm ready to get going, but I'm still been sitting in that little bit of fear. And what has happened over the last couple of weeks, I've been noticing maybe some networking things that I had been going to, they just don't fire me up anymore, or some work things that I'd been doing, some circles of people, or some, it's almost like I feel I've outgrown some things, and you will go through this too. You feel you've outgrown some things, but you get scared of taking on the next thing. One of my, let's just say, inspiration, or women that I look up to, or I look at women around me who have got results in certain areas, or I'm watching their growth journey and I'm inspired by them. I'm watching what they're doing. They're making some changes. They're making some impact. They're quite successful in what they do. And I've had a feeling like I want to learn more. I want to get into these kind of rooms. So I'll give you an example. One of the girls that I follow, Kiki Kivas, she's the founder of Kavari. And I'm very inspired by she's my favorite clothing brand. You guys all know that. But I'm inspired by what she's done from a business perspective. And I'm loving watching her journey. And she's just launched a program. So when I was up in 1770, again, all this emotions, all this is coming up at the same time. She has launched, you could go on the wait list. She's doing like a mentoring program. And I think to myself, I want to get in that room. I want to learn from that woman, and I want to get in that room. And fear kicks in as well. How much is it going to be? What's it going to take? You know, you're going to be stepping up with some bigger women. It's an application process. What if you don't get accepted? What if it's, what if I can't afford it? All the fears start kicking in, but I get on, I send the email, and I submit an expression of interest. So when I'm in Bali next week, there will be, I don't know, I'm waiting for the next stage to kind of come out. But that has come up, and I'm just getting these stirring, like I've outgrown certain rooms. I'm ready to step into some other rooms. I bought a ticket last night, cost a little bit of money, to go to an event that Ruby Lee, another girl that I follow who I love, and she helps business owners. She's a successful entrepreneur, and I love watching her stuff. And without a doubt, I jumped on. She's holding like a mastermind group of 12 women. I'm straight on there last night. It's a bit of money, a bit of outlay. I buy a ticket, and that's coming up in July. I had like a whole group of LSKD people come into my class during the week, and the regional manager, and they were doing my class. And one of the girls, as she was leaving, she said to me, when you get back from Bali, I need to catch up with you. I want to talk to you about a couple of things, a few opportunities or some things. And that was it. I have to wait now until I get back. Some things that she wants to work on with me, or some ideas she wants to run past me. I got no idea, right? I don't know. And all of these things are starting to happen as the emotion is coming up. I'm seeing nines everywhere. I'm seeing signs everywhere. I'm feeling like endings coming up. I'm also seeing glimpses of what is coming, of what I'm excited by, of what I want to do. And I'm feeling this stirring coming up, that change is happening, that something is shifting, that something is pulling me into something new. But closure needs to happen to go into something new. And just like that card said, what version of yourself do you, now I can't find it, but what version of yourself do you need to let go of that you're clinging to for you to step up and for you to grow, or for you to embody more of the powerful woman that you are, for you to go on to the next opportunity, to the next relationship, to the next business idea, to the next job, for the next evolution in your journey. It could, whatever it is for you, for your next health journey, for your next wellness journey, for you to open yourself up to receive that you're good enough and that you're worthy enough to bring in the new relationship, to bring in the new abundance, the money, the prosperity. Whatever it is, it comes with closures, it comes with endings, and also the new beginnings. They can happen simultaneously. As one door closes, another one opens. So that's where a lot of the doing the work is, where you ride through these waves of emotion, where you have the ups, you have the downs, you have the letting go, you have the new things coming in, you have the shedding the layers, the releasing, but you also have the inspiration, the growth that's coming, the opportunities that are coming. And sometimes you just feel like you just don't even know. You got all of these things going on at the same time, and you can just be so overcome with emotion. Ride through the emotion. Let yourself feel how you need to feel. Evaluate those things in your life. Have the awareness. What's working? What's not working? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to end? What do I need closure with to open me up for that next stage? And roll with the opportunities. Like I said, I don't know where some of these things are going to go. These tickets that I've bought, or the coaching program that I want to jump into. I don't know at this stage where it's going to lead, what it's going to open up. But all I know is for me to step into my highest version of myself, I have to believe in myself, and I have to let go of some of those. I have to get terrifyingly real with myself, and so do you, and let go of some of those things, those versions of ourselves, or the way that we see ourselves that we've been clinging to. We have to strip them back. We have to let them go for progress, for evolution, for growth, for us to reach our full potential, for change to happen, for transformation to take place. We have to get terrifyingly real with ourselves and release what's no longer serving us to open up those new doors of opportunity, even if we don't know where they what they're going to open up into or where they're going to lead. Trust in yourself. And when you do the inner work, when you come to the yoga class, when you have those moments out in nature, when you do your bit of journaling, when you pull your oracle cards, when you're listening to a podcast, when you're having those little voices pop in your head of self-doubt and you need to kind of back yourself and you need to find that bit of faith and draw on that bit of strength to keep going, I just want to invite you to allow yourself to go through those little moments behind closed doors, on the yoga mat, out when you're watching your sunrise, out when you're, well, for me, watching the eagle when I'm on my drive on the way home, when a song comes on. Allow yourself to ride through it. Allow yourself to feel how you need to feel. Allow yourself to have the tears if you need to have the tears and the emotion. Allow yourself to let the anger or the frustration come up. Whatever comes up for you, allow yourself to ride through it, because you're shedding layers and you're releasing in that process of doing the inner work. It's not comfortable. It is always going to challenge you. No, I shouldn't say always. There are moments it feels incredible. There are moments you feel elated. There are moments you feel proud of yourself. There are moments where you feel so good and you feel like you're doing the work and you're getting results. Feel proud of yourself. Celebrate your wins along the way, but just knowing that you are not going to feel amazing 100% of the time. You are going to have your ups and downs. Your growth is not linear. You are going to have times where you fall backwards or you're emotional wreck. This is normal. This is a normal part of the process. Honor what you need in those moments. If you need to journal, journal. If you need to have a rest and take a little bit of a break, do that. If you need to step back away from people and retreat a little bit from the world for a period, do that. But open yourself up to see the signs, to see what's coming up for you, to see, like I had one of my friends, he called me this morning. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning on the way home from my class. And he said, he was telling me how he'd been talking to somebody who I was telling this friend of mine during the week about some ideas that I want to do for my business and some things that I want to do, and the rooms that I want to get in and the things that I've outgrown, and sharing like my heart and soul is a close friend of ours. And I know I'm inspiring him as a successful person as well. And we inspire each other when we, me and Tom have chats and bounce ideas off each other. And he said, Lise, you're going to do it. He said, I know that you will do it. And I feel a bit intimidated in his presence. He's a great friend, but he's so intelligent, And we're so opposite in terms of so what does he call me? What's the word? Esoteric, spiritual, he's logical, research, factual based. And I know I keep a little bit of myself hidden around to him as well, because we're very, very different. It's okay to protect parts of yourself. But I was sharing my ideas, and he said to me, I can see you really, these things are going to happen for you. And he rings me this morning and we're chatting, and I know by some of the things I've said to him, he's ticking over on the next things that he's going to do as well. And because we learn from each other, we bounce ideas off each other. And he rings me this morning and he said, I was talking to this person someone that he knows, and he said, do you know he sells online programs and makes like millions of dollars a year? He said, I don't know why, I just needed to tell you that. And he left that with me, and I'm like, this is cool. Right before I go to Bali, lots of letting go, lots of looking at my stuff, but also these little bits of inspiration are coming through. Again, don't know where they're going to go. I just feel this calling that off the mat, I want to share more of teaching people to open up spiritually and showing you that the spiritual doesn't have to be weird. It doesn't have to be woo. I want to normalize spirituality for the everyday person, equip you with the tools and show you how to do that. And just coming to the studio is a small part of that. It's what you do behind closed doors. It's what you do off the mat. But I want to help impart that in you. I want to help inspire you to do that. And I want to show you and equip you how to do that. And that could be part of my next evolution. Don't know. I'm just following the breadcrumbs along the way, following my gut feeling, releasing what I know I need to release, and embodying the visions and the inspiration that's coming through. And that's what you need to do. When you get those moments of, inspiration, when you get those moments of like a vision of what's possible for you and then you doubt on yourself, I want you to remember that if you're wanting to manifest something, if you're wanting to create something, if you have a dream of something, God's source universe has planted it in you because it is possible for you. It's possible for me and it's possible for you. And you have got that little glimmer of insight. You've got that little bit of inspiration. You've got that vision or that dream or that goal implanted in you because it's possible for you. And if you weren't capable of having it, you wouldn't have seen the vision. So it's there because you can do it. So if you're doing the work, if you're trying to find yourself, if you're having moments of ups and downs, if you're not feeling 100% all the time, if you're feeling vulnerable, if you're feeling an emotional wreck, if you're feeling that this is all too hard, I want to encourage you, just keep going. If you step back into old patterns, that's okay. Redirect, course correct, and just keep going, because your growth is not always linear. Your growth comes in the ups and downs, but it's the people that keep going anyway, that stay on the journey, that have the results and the transformation that you want. And I know that you will have that, angels. I hope that has helped you. Have a beautiful day. I need to get packing. I got so much to do. And I will see you when I get back from Bali. Have a beautiful rest of your day, angels. Mwah! So much love to you. Bye.